Save on SQL Server costs by planning and deploying FSx for ONTAP using NetApp Workload Factory. Choosing the correct storage service for a self-managed SQL Server can be complex. You need to translate your database requirements into technical configurations for multiple services. Break down the cost structure of the services that are used for these configurations. Compare the total cost of ownership of the different configurations. Let's see an easy way to do this with Workload Factory. On the home page, in the Database section, click Manage. On the left-hand menu, click Explore Savings. Choose the storage service to which you want to compare Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP. In this example, we'll choose SQL Server on FSx for Windows. Click Analyze Custom Configuration for FSx for Windows File Server. On the left, you can find a detailed form that helps you translate your business requirements to an equivalent FSx for ONTAP configuration. First, we'll set the SQL Server configurations with parameters such as the region, deployment model, and SQL Server edition. Then, we'll set the FSx for Windows configuration to compare deployment type, total storage capacity, provisioned IOPS, throughput, and EC2 specification. To the right, you can see how much cost is saved by using FSx for ONTAP versus using FSx for Windows in the chosen configuration. Below the graph, you can see a cost breakdown of the compared configurations and a detailed configuration of the SQL Server EC2 instance and the FSx for ONTAP file system. You can save this configuration for later or create it now. You can export the results to PDF and see how the calculation was made. Workload Factory also allows you to compare costs of your existing resources versus migrating them to FSx for ONTAP. To do that, select the resource you want to compare. In this example, we'll choose an SQL Server host on a multi-AZ FSx for Windows file system. Click Explore Savings. On the left, you can see the specification of the SQL Server host, the EC2 on which it is installed, and the FSx for Windows file system you selected. On the right, you can see the monthly costs amount compared to an equivalent configuration with FSx for ONTAP. Below, you can see the configuration itself. You can save the configuration or deploy it now by clicking Create Template. You can use the automatically created code snippet to deploy with CloudFormation, AWS CLI, REST API, or Terraform. You can also click Create to deploy directly from Workload Factory. Save on SQL Server costs by planning and deploying FSx for ONTAP using NetApp Workload Factory.